My name is Jessica Blake, and I am the owner of Blake Consulting Group. And we're going to go through a PowerPoint called How to Design a Life You Love. Okay, so about me. So my name is Jessica, and I went to Oklahoma State University with a degree in environmental engineering. I then went to work for John Deere in Dubuque, Iowa as an environmental engineer. I moved back to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I worked as an engineering project manager for a company called Magellan Midstream here in Tulsa. And since then I've been starting my own consulting business. So my job as an engineering project manager was 90% communication and follow through and relationship building, and very little actually engineering work. So the engineering work I did do was reviewing plans and working with other engineering consultants. So I would say my job was very heavy in the relationship side, the communication side. So those are those soft skills that they may not teach you in college. My education obviously was focusing more on that 10%, the more technical skills, but those relationship building and communication skills were very, very strong in the job that I ended up doing. So we're going to talk about some information from 3 different books. The first is I Could Do Anything If I Only Knew What It Was. We're going to talk about how to design a life you love from the information from Designing Your Life, and then we're going to pull some information from Strengths Finders 2.0. So those are all books that you can access. You can buy them on Amazon. You can probably find them at your library. So those are great resources that I'm going to pull some information from. So how do you know what you're good at? So let's say you're in high school and you have some, maybe some club experiences and some experiences in classes. How do you really know what you want to do? That's the question that we're here to answer today, to help you figure out what you want to do. So my recommendations would be to take lots of jobs that are in the field that you maybe are interested in. So that's internships, maybe a co-op, maybe working a summer job at a veterinary office if you're interested in being a veterinarian. It really will help you hone in what it is that you want to do by getting out there and getting some experience. And then we're going to talk about the Strengths Finders 2.0 test. It's a little quiz that you can take, and it'll give you some great information about your strengths and how that can apply to some careers. So now we're going to talk about the Strengths Finder 2.0 test quiz. So it's just a little assessment. You can purchase it online. You can go to the website and purchase just a little questionnaire. You take it online, and it's a very, very easy test that you can take. So the Strengths Finders 2.0 is going to help you find a career that highlights your strengths. And you can take it online. You can buy the book. A lot of times, if you can find a new book, the book will come with a code in the back that'll give you the code to go online and take the test. So once you take the Strengths Finders 2.0 test, you're going to get a results page with 5 of your top strengths, and those they call talent themes. Those talent themes, as you can see from this list, are very diverse, and everybody's going to have a different combination of 5 of these strengths. So what are the strengths of, for example, a design engineer? A design engineer is going to be analytical, have discipline, focus, and be restorative, and perhaps they would be strategic. So after I took this Strengths Finders 2.0 test, and I took this late in my career, I really wish I would have taken this earlier on in my career, so I would have really had an understanding of what my strengths were, so maybe I could have found a job and a career that was a better fit. So I'm an activator, so that means I like to start new projects. I love the excitement of working with a team and starting projects. I love learning and developing others. This one, woo, is interesting. I love networking and connecting with people and winning them over to my ideas. And the last one is positivity. So I love just that positive atmosphere. So those, as you can see, don't really align with an engineer, which is the career I had chosen. So if I had to go back, maybe I would have picked a career that really highlighted those strengths. And it is hard to figure out, based on those strengths, what kind of career would be great for these strengths. Okay, so when it comes to choosing a job, so you have your Strengths Finders results and you have your 5 strengths. You can really turn those into a way to add them to your resume so that it will highlight your strengths. So maybe you can ask in an interview, I see, the job description here. Would you agree that a person in this job would have strengths X, Y, and Z? And that's a great way to kind of start that conversation with your interviewer or the job, the hiring manager, if this job is going to be a good fit for you. Okay, so here on this slide are some great ways to use those StrengthsFinders results on your resume. So the examples, so my personal strength, you may be adept at analyzing the problem. That would show that restorative strength. If you want to describe how you have harmony, you might say you're skilled at looking for consensus. So here are a couple of other examples of ways you can use those. So really be creative and try to use those StrengthsFinders results. When it gives you the results, it'll give you a whole paragraph of description. So pull out the keywords that you like and throw those on your resume. I definitely have done that. At the bottom it shows my skills and my strengths, and I don't directly say these are from StrengthsFinders and here are my 5 strengths, but in some way I try to incorporate that into my resume so it really shows the interviewer, the hiring manager, what it is that you're really strong in, and it can give some good verbiage and some good language to use those words. So now we're going to talk about how do you balance what you're passionate in and how much money you're going to make. So we're going to talk about money. So how do you decide what you're passionate about and also what's going to make you some money? So one great resource is salary.com. So you can check out salary.com, you can type in your potential career, and you can start looking at some salary. So I would really encourage you to do this early on so that you're not trying to get into a career that turns out, you're not going to be able to make a whole lot of money at. That's the point of a career and education, is that we can get to a job that can pay our bills and make us enough money that we can live and pay back any student debt we have. So you can also look at careers that the young people of the next generation, YPNG.co. So that's a great place to look for other videos like this one that are going to give you some good tips on different types of careers. Also think outside of the box. So if, let's say you want to be a veterinarian, want to be a teacher, but maybe you think that doesn't pay enough. Maybe you consider going to work for a adult education firm or a consulting firm that works one-on-one with people teaching adults. Do you love animals? Maybe consider starting a business that works with animals. So there are lots of options, so you can kind of pick what you're interested in and then really think creatively and find a way to incorporate that into a career that you love. Okay, so we have our passion versus money matrix. So this is a really fun matrix. So let's say you're passionate about something and it makes you a lot of money. That is the sweet spot. That's where we all want to be. Let's say you don't have any passion, but it makes you a lot of money. That is, I would consider that a soulless job. So you're not going to be very happy in that job, but maybe you'll make a lot of money, so maybe it's worth it. So you just have to think about whether it's worth it to you. If you have a lot of passion, but it's not going to make you a lot of money, still maybe it's worth it to you. But some people consider that a hobby. So try to roll that interest or passion into something that maybe will make you some money. And if you have no passion and it doesn't make you any money, then we are in the sad zone there. So nobody wants to be there. So we try to get to the passion and money quadrant in this matrix. We're going to talk about some information from the book, I Could Do Anything If I Only Knew What It Was. As we go through these questions, you may not know the answers, and that's okay. So these are just questions to get you started thinking and discussing with your friends and parents and teachers. These are just great prompts to help you start thinking critically about what kind of career you might want. And my overall advice is don't get stuck in a job you hate. That's something I've learned from my life. If it's not a good fit, there's going to be a better job out there that's a better fit for you. So don't worry about getting stuck. It is hard because you have to pick a degree and go to college and then go into this field, and it may seem like, well, you've made these choices and you've chosen this path and now you have to stick to it. But it's never too late to go back to school or to change careers. That's the great thing about going to college, is that it will give you the education and experience to know that you can then do really anything you want once you have that college degree. All right, so we're going to start with exercise 1. So what are you supposed to be doing? And I'm putting supposed to be doing in quotes. So what do your parents want you to be doing? What are the cues that you get from society and from the people in your life? Do your parents want you to be a doctor or a lawyer, or do they just want you to make money and be secure? That's what my mom always told me. I just want you to be able to, be secure in your career. So I want you to take about a minute and really think through this. Maybe grab a pen and paper and write this down and really think critically about what it is that people want you to do, that you're supposed to be doing. So how do you get lucky? Again, I'm putting that in quotes, and find a job that you love. So I would say action is your best friend here. So that means try different things. So just sitting and not taking any action is not going to get you very far. So try lots of things. It's going to help you think. It's going to raise your self-esteem. And every time you do take a job or you try a project or an activity, think, does this move me closer or further away from the thing that maybe I want to do? So if you try something and it's not a great fit, definitely take a job that's further away from that you just tried. If you try something and you really like it, next time take a summer job or a class or a project that's closer to that thing that you want. So you're trying to hone in on what exactly it is that you want. So take a job, do it for summer, and then try something else. So if you take a job and it's not a great fit and you're not quite sure where to go next, try something completely different, because maybe something in that job will spark some joy in you that you can then follow. So how do we define what is meaningful work? And that's a really important topic when you're picking a career, because this is the thing you're going to have to do for the rest of your life, perhaps. So meaningful could be meaningful in that sense of it just provides you this sense of meaning and purpose in your life, but it could also mean that it provides financial stability for you and your family. And I feel like that's a really valid source of meaning. A lot of people follow that, and that's a very, I think, respectable way to build a career, something that can provide you stability and allow you to travel, and maybe the meaning you find in your life is external to your job, and that is absolutely okay. Lots of people do that too. So find something that's not terrible, but is a great, is stable and can provide you lots of great outside of work travel and financial and fun activities, concerts, and all sorts of fun things to do. So for you, you have to define what meaningful means to you. So that's a very personal decision, and it's something I definitely encourage you to spend some critical thinking time really thinking about and deciding as you launch into your career. Okay, so now we're going to start out with exercise 2, meaningful work. So we're going to help hone in that concept of meaningful work a little bit more. So we're going to try to find a connection between what we love and something worth doing. And so those things are kind of the definition of meaningful. So we're going to take about 2 minutes, and you're going to write down everything you think meaningful work may be. So especially think about the people in your life that you think have meaningful jobs. So maybe that's a doctor or a teacher or, like I said, a veterinarian, any of those things. Think of examples in your real life of people that you find have meaningful work. So we're going to take a few minutes and really write those out and think critically about what meaningful work means to you. Okay, so we're back. So exercise 3, we're going to create the job from heaven, and then after this we're going to create the job from hell. So save those for later, but right now we're going to think about the job that we would love. So we're going to create our own hours, activities, what's your most desirable environment, whether that's working with people or working alone. Don't limit yourself. This is fantasy time. So you just want to go crazy and think of all the amazing, wonderful things that you think would make a perfect job. So the only thing is it has to have hours and tasks. You have to do something, and you have to do something at a certain time, perhaps. And you want to kind of help define what, where, and with whom you're going to be doing these tasks. So take a few minutes and write out what you think the job from heaven is. Okay, so now that we've written out our job from heaven, we're going to write out what your job from hell would be. So if the devil himself designed the perfect job just to torment you, what kind of qualities would this job have? So is it that you are working around lots of people and it's loud and busy, and that's your worst environment that you can think of? Or are you traveling and you really hate traveling? For an example. So what kind of job would be just the worst job you can imagine? Maybe that's sitting in traffic every day and having to be at your desk at 6 a.m. You're not an early morning person and you have to be at your desk at 6 a.m. So think about what kinds of things, maybe from your own experience, maybe from your parents or your teachers or your friends, what kind of things would qualify for you as the job from hell. So again, you want to say what and where and with whom these activities are happening. So take a few minutes and really think about what your horrible job would be. Okay, so now we're going to take those two parts, so our job from heaven and our job from hell, and we're going to flip the negative. So we're going to take that job from hell and we're going to turn everything in that list of things, that paragraph, into the opposite. So you're going to exactly flip it. So maybe that's the hours, your coworkers, the weather. You're going to reverse them exactly. So now we have sort of a template. So we have our job from heaven, and now we have this inverse, this negative of our job from hell. And we're going to, in a minute, we're going to combine those. So take about 2 minutes, and we're going to combine those into the perfect job using that information from our job from heaven and our job from hell, flipping that. So we want to have now what you think maybe is the perfect job. And our next step is going to have somebody read that back to us. So that could be a friend or a coworker or a student is going to read that back to you, and we're going to go back and forth. So kind of make it as clear and as concise as you can so that another person can read it back to you. So now we're going to start with exercise 5. You're going to start and pair up with a buddy, and we're going to go back and forth, and you're going to read. You're going to take turns, and you're going to read, have your partner read to you the job from heaven, job from hell, summarized perfect job that you created. You're going to listen carefully to what they're reading to you. So they're going to be reading you your own story, and you're going to listen carefully, and then I want you to tell them ways to improve. So you're going to say, okay, wait, I don't really like that. Now that I think about it a little more, that sounds a little off, so I'm going to make this change. So I want you to kind of be an iterative process and change and kind of hone in what that perfect job would be. So you're going to take about 3 minutes per person, and then you'll switch and go through the other person's story. So now I want you to share your ideas. So if you're in a classroom or watching this from home, go find a person to talk to, and I want you to talk about what you think your perfect job is. So mine, after I went through this exercise and I went through the strengths finders, I realized that I really love working one-on-one with people. I love making my own schedule. I love teaching and developing people and learning. So a perfect job for me would be to be a private productivity consultant, working one-on-one with people to develop their productivity skills. So I never thought maybe that was something I wanted to do, but because I went through this exercise, I realized that that would really be perfect for me. I love working one-on-one. When I get in big groups, it makes me a little nervous, so I love just that one-on-one dynamics where I can see people grow and learn. So my strengths finders skills turned out to be activator, learner, developer, woo, and positivity, just like I showed you earlier. So those strengths finders strengths are highlighted in that career plan that I have proposed for myself. So the big concern, and it was definitely a concern for me too, what if I end up in a job that I don't like? What if I make the wrong decision going to school or picking a career? And the nice thing is you're young, you've got lots of time. You don't have to stay in a job that you don't love. So try it for a while, go to school. You're probably going to have multiple jobs throughout your career anyway. So even if you think, so let's say for me, as an example, I was an engineer. I went to engineering school. I started as an engineer, and it wasn't a great fit for me. But if I really wanted to stay in the engineering field, maybe I could find a job as a project manager, doing less engineering like I was doing. Maybe I could take a job or position within that same company as a business development person with that engineering background. So there's lots of creative ways that you can, use the skills that you've already developed and build on them, and turn them into something that is a good fit for you. Okay, so as I showed you at the beginning, these are the books that we've used. These are great resources. I'm showing them again in case any of them struck a chord with you and you really want to learn about them more, do some more reading. There's lots of great information in all of these, and they can definitely help you as you pick your career. So those 3 books are wonderful. There's lots of other career books out there, but these have been my favorite, and I really, really recommend them. You can probably get them in the library and Amazon and local bookstore. So these are great resources to use. So I want to know what your takeaways are. So discuss with the people around you, or find a friend. I'd love for you to continue this conversation outside of this presentation, because the more you talk to people and the more you, talk to your parents, talk to your friends, you can further hone in what it is that you really want to do in your career. So thank you so much for following along with this presentation. I hope it gave you some great tips to start thinking about what kind of career you want to build. I encourage you to experiment and try lots of things, and don't feel like you're ever stuck in one job, because there's lots of options out there and there's lots of careers that you can pursue. So I encourage you to continue discussion outside of this presentation, and I hope you find a great career that you love. Thank you so much.